Hey, what's going on, Headliner Nation? Kyle coming back to you from the Draft.com studios, talking quarterback rankings for week 3 of the NFL season. But we got to jump right into it. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to make this a quick episode, though, so make sure you keep an eye on these rankings to help you with your start-sit questions. Got a few of my favorite players I want to talk about this week as well. Give you a little bit more insight to that. So let's jump into it right now. The top 20 quarterbacks for week 3. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson coming up at 1 and 2. This is going to be a fun game to watch. People really excited for it. Ready to see these two go back and forth. It's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a lot of points. Lamar Jackson looking to get that early career, I wouldn't say upset victory, but kind of statement victory over Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be a good one. Both of these guys at the top of my rankings. Lamar Jackson has been a top 4 quarterback for me, both week 1 and 2 so far this season. We're not changing anything at this point. Keep an eye on a little bit of regression after this week, though. Right now, his touchdown percentage is almost double what Patrick Mahomes was last year, and Patrick Mahomes had a fantastic season. So he won't keep this up all season. Look for a little regression, but not this week. Still a huge week coming up. Dak Prescott at number 3. Hard not to put him up here with the Dolphins giving up 32.66 points per game to opposing quarterbacks. That's the most in the National Football League. It's going to be a lot of the same with the Dolphins. Unfortunately, they're probably not going to be stopping much of anything this week. So go ahead and fire up your Dallas Cowboys, especially Dak Prescott, who is the number 2 quarterback in the NFL right now behind Lamar Jackson. We'll see if he keeps things going this week against Miami. More than likely will. Tom Brady coming in at number 4. I thought about this one for a while. This offense is clicking on all cylinders. We found out, obviously, he's not going to have Antonio Brown anymore, but he still has more than enough weapons in New England, and this offense is playing very well right now. I will say this, Quinnen Williams and C.J. Mosley are both likely out again this week against the Patriots. I don't anticipate them, the Jets defense being nearly as good as it was against the Browns like it was on Monday Night Football. That was a home game. That was a primetime game. They really wanted to get that win over the Browns. It didn't happen. But the one thing is this is a much better offensive line in New England than what the Browns offensive line has been playing right now. So we're going to go ahead and bump Tom Brady up here in for a big week. Deshaun Watson at number 5, Matt Ryan after him. Josh Allen at number 7 is another one that I think has a ton of upside this week, and I really wanted to move him higher. And if I'm being quite honest, by the time we kick off on Sunday and I submit my rankings through Fantasy Pros, he might be 1 or 2 spots higher. I haven't decided yet. I'm like 99% sure this is where I'm going to leave Josh Allen, but there's such a high ceiling for him this week. The Bengals are giving up almost 20 points per game to opposing quarterbacks right now, and not only that, but they're giving up 40 points per game to opposing running backs. Now, Devin Singletary is going to be out this week, and because of that, maybe this is the week where we see Josh Allen really fire up his ground game and give you some of those stats that he gave on the ground at the end of last season that made him a quarterback 1 at the very end of the season in terms of point per games and helped a lot of owners win a fantasy championship. That is absolutely a possibility with Frank Gore being the main running back this week. They could do some run pass options. They can get him moving on the ground a little bit. I wouldn't doubt it if that happens. I'm excited to see Josh Allen this week. I don't think I've ever said those words in my entire life, but this could be a huge week for Josh Allen. And I've heard from a lot of people he's still on the waiver wire in a lot of leagues, so he's a great streaming option this week. Russell Wilson at number 8. Number 9, Jameis Winston. Are we still going to trust this guy? Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to trust him for week 3. He's getting the Giants, who are giving up 27.8 points per game to opposing quarterbacks, 3rd most in the National Football League. And this is the perfect time to get Jameis Winston going, right? This is not a very good defense. They can do some things maybe in this game that they haven't felt comfortable doing yet because maybe Jameis Winston was getting up to speed with the playbook. Maybe he just wasn't comfortable, but this is the type of defense where you get comfortable. You start bringing out a few more of those things that maybe you wanted to implement because they're going to be able to do so and still win this game. Yes, I don't think the New York Giants are going to be able to beat the Tampa Bay Bucks this week. Jameis Winston, we're going to give him another shot. I think this is a really, really good week for him. I think he has an extremely high ceiling this week. And Daniel Jones, maybe he won't be that bad. Maybe he'll be all right. We'll say all right. I was trying to think of a different word, but I just want to go with all right for right now. I don't want to get too hyped up. I know Giants fans are tired of watching Eli Manning. They want to see Daniel Jones. But we'll see what happens. Maybe he can at least keep the Giants in the game, keep this thing close. If that happens, more opportunity for Jameis Winston to run with that game script. Jared Goff at number 10. I'm liking him this week. As much as I like the Browns, and I am not by any means off of their bandwagon right now, the Browns look awful. The main reason is because of the offensive line, and the defense just hasn't done great yet. We'll see what happens with them, but we're not talking about the Browns right now. But the Los Angeles Rams will be playing the Browns this week. And the one thing that has concerned me about the Browns defense is they've created a lot of pressure up front. You've seen that. You saw that on Monday Night Football this past week. A lot of pressure from Myles Garrett. However, it hasn't caused any turnovers, any interceptions. It hasn't caused any interceptions yet. I need to see more of that. Is that going to happen against the Los Angeles Rams this week? I don't believe so. Falk came into the game last week, back up for the New York Jets. He comes in last week, goes 20 of 29. The week before that, in week 1, Marcus Mariota, who looked like trash on Thursday Night Football, he comes in against the Cleveland Browns defense. He goes 14 of 24 for 248 and 3 touchdowns. They just need the defense needs to get going, and I don't think this is the game for that to happen. I think Jared Goff is going to have a huge game this week. He's statistically in recent years played very, very well against defenses that are vulnerable. So we definitely are looking at around 300 yards upsides, maybe 2 to 3 touchdowns. And I would be surprised if he throws any picks this week. Maybe 1 pick. Maybe they finally do get one. But we'll see what happens with that. I think Goff is in for a huge week. Jimmy Garoppolo coming in at number 11. He's been looking really, really good. So the first week, he looked all right, but keep in mind, he's coming back from this injury, getting into this game in week 1, getting more comfortable last week, looking really, really good. Pittsburgh's giving up almost 25 points per game. That's 5th most in the National Football League to opposing quarterbacks. And he's getting more comfortable. So he's coming back from the injury. He's looking better. As the season progresses, he's going to continue to look better. This is another good game for him to continue to roll. Jimmy Garoppolo, a great option for me this week. And just like Josh Allen, I've heard a lot of people say he's still on the waiver wire. That's just, even with all the injuries that we've had at quarterback, we still have a lot of really good options that you could potentially grab. Number 12, Kyler Murray. I had him as a sit last week. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Right now, he's 4th in the National Football League, averaging 32.85 yards, or 328.5, yards per game through the air right now. That's 4th most in the National Football League. Carolina's done very well against the pass this year, though. They're giving up only 11.33 points per game to opposing quarterbacks. That's the 6th best right now in the NFL. So it's probably going to be a tougher game. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyler Murray has a couple of turnovers in this game. But this is setting up for another good matchup for him to throw quite often. Even with Kyle Allen being in the game for the Carolina Panthers, they're still going to be able to move the ball against this Arizona defense. So Kyler Murray is still going to have himself a pretty good game. Aaron Rodgers at 13. Maybe a surprise to see him out of the top 12 this week. I just don't love the upside this week. And then at number 14, Mitchell Trubisky. Now, maybe this one is a shocker to some of you. I know I already mentioned it on the tight end video with Trey Burton, but Washington's giving up 26.34 points per game to opposing quarterbacks right now, 4th most in the National Football League. And we've seen this with Mitchell Trubisky in the past. Yes, he has a very low floor because he makes some mistakes and looks off some games, but he has a huge ceiling because the dude will just blow up like he did in a couple of games last year and give you 30 points at quarterback. So this is definitely one of those matchups on Monday Night Football. He gets the extra day to prepare this week. I see a big game coming from him in the Chicago Bears offense this week at Washington, so expect that to happen. That's why I have him so far up there. He's another guy I wanted to boost just a little bit more, but again, it's Mitchell Trubisky. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Stafford coming in at 15. Cousins at 16. We're going to give him another shot. He hasn't been great so far this year, and this Minnesota Vikings team has been 100% trying to establish the run over and over and over, and so far they've done it because Dalvin Cook is a beast. But the Raiders are giving up 23.22 points per game to opposing quarterbacks right now. That's seventh most in the National Football League. And last week, Kirk Cousins actually had the second longest pass in terms of air yards of anybody in the NFL. The arm is still there. They just haven't unleashed it yet. So could this be the week? I think it might be. I think we might see hopefully a little bit more passing, a little bit more volume, but I think he could be very effective with that volume. I think he, even if he passes the ball 15 to 20 times per game, I think he has some really big plays this week, and I think that is more than enough to get him a little bit closer to quarterback one status. I'm still going to be careful with it. However, Carson Wentz, I am very low on him this week, and let me tell you why. Against the Detroit Lions, the defense hasn't been all that bad. Obviously, they had that letdown in the fourth quarter against Murray, and the Cardinals ended up as a tie. However, the Lions defense, that secondary, it can be good at times. It can be good at times. Carson Wentz isn't going to have very many options this week. Yes, Alshon Jeffrey may end up suiting up. But if he doesn't, or if he doesn't, he's limited, then you basically got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Nelson Aguilar as your 1 and 2 facing a Detroit Lions 1 and 2 that includes Darius Slay. So are really like your 3, 4, and 5th options, whatever you want to consider Aguilar and Arcega-Whiteside, whatever they are for the Eagles. Do you really want those guys that low on your depth chart basically being your top options against what Detroit has in the secondary? And that's the reason I'm a little bit concerned about him this week. I think he has a good game. I think he has a fine game, but I don't see very much upside this week. It's going to take Ertz having a huge game to really help Carson Wentz. And what Detroit could do is, because they know that they're going to be able to possibly contain these two receivers, because they're not great in terms of, both of these guys are good. They're NFL wide receivers, obviously. I don't want this to seem like I'm knocking on them, but they're not the options that like Deshaun Jackson is. Alshon Jeffrey, that red zone option that can be used. So, if they say like, we feel like we're going to shut these two down, and then they really focus a lot of extra attention on Ertz, it could be a long day for this Eagles passing game. So maybe they focus in on the run game a little bit more. Let's see what happens. Miles Sanders could be a sneaky play this week. Baker Mayfield, it hurts to put him this far down at 18, but I don't see this being a very good game against a Rams defense that basically suffocated the New Orleans Saints at times last week. Yes, Teddy Bridgewater was the guy in the second half after Drew Brees got hurt, but I think Baker Mayfield could be running around a lot trying to get away from this front seven of the Los Angeles Rams this week. So could be a tough matchup for him. Definitely a roller coaster week. Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, they're going to round out my top 20 this week. Like I mentioned, a lot of really good options this week. There's several guys I think that have really high ceilings. A couple of them might still be on waivers. So if you're still looking to pick up some guys like a Josh Allen and Jimmy Garoppolo, highly suggest you take a look at them this week, because even after this week, they could have some long-term success this season. All right, ladies and gentlemen, got to get out of here. It's Saturday. We've got the live show coming up tonight, so make sure that you check that out, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube. Set your calendars right now. You got to come back for it. One of the best, if not the best, live show that you're going to find for fantasy football. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're not a part of Headliner Nation already, hit the subscribe button down below and hit the little bell notification signal. Every time that we go live, you'll get a notification, and every time we drop this hashtag Hellafire content, you're going to get a notification as well. Also, hit the like button on the video. We always appreciate that support. Headliner Nation, looking forward to a very successful week 3. Very excited for this week. Hopefully you are as well. Hopefully there's lots of fantasy victories to go around. Good luck to everybody. We'll catch you on the live show, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.